Okay, hi everyone. This is my first committee meeting, so be patient if I'm not lingoing things correctly. I am Sam Bowling. I am the council member for Ward 1, and we are here today to discuss the CRA for Pure Beauty LLC. Great. If I could pull up my notes, that would be even better. Okay, do we want to have people speak first, we think? Great. Okay, Catherine from Alloy, would you like to come chat?
Good afternoon. I'm Catherine Fitzgerald with Alloy Development and on contract with the City of Norwood for Economic Development Services. Just wanted to give a quick highlight of what a community reinvestment area is. We call it a CRA, not to be confused with the bank CRA. The City of Norwood actually established the CRA back in 2009, well before my work here with the city. And basically it's a tax exemption on improvements to real estate. So generally speaking, existing taxes do not come off the tax roll, and it's not applicable to land. So it's new improvements that are approved by City Council. The project has to be approved for a commercial project. I will say the city also has a residential CRA. Both of them are for citywide. The city actually administers the residential CRA, so we're not going to really touch base on that today. However, Alloy administers the commercial CRA for the city. Basically, if the request and agreement are 49% or less tax abatement, it does not require school board approval. State law has changed with that, and the threshold is now 75%, but that would require a change in your ordinance. So we're dealing with the current ordinance, which has been interpreted by the City of Norwood as 49% or below. Yes?
Yes, could you just repeat that last part?
Sure. So the current city ordinance, which was enacted in 2009, allows for tax abatement, commercial tax abatement of up to 49% without school board approval. If it exceeds 49%, it requires school board approval. There was a change in the legislation in last January at the state. Actually, it's in effect, January as of 2024. And the new threshold is up to 75%, does not require school board approval. However, that would require a change in the city ordinance. So we're dealing with the 49% at this point. With that, we do have an application before you. It is for 49% for 12 years for Pure Beauty Extension Bar, doing business as Skin by Brownlee. They purchased, before we were in touch with them, they purchased 4318 Montgomery Road last July, which is the former River City Mortgage, next door to Gordo's. Sylvia Brownlee is who I've dealt with. I understand a number of folks have dealt. Oh, hi Sylvia. And I think it's a wonderful addition to the city. You have the application and the agreement before you. Again, she's requesting 49% for 12 years rather. New investment will be about $220,000. She will be relocating 2 full-time permanent positions and then adding 2 permanent full-time positions, 1 in year 1 and 1 in year 2. I'm happy to answer any questions or let Sylvia speak a little bit more about her product and business. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Sylvia, I'd love to invite you up to come give us a little talk. Hi.
How are you guys?
Good, how are you?
Pardon the scrubs, I just came from work, so.
We're all casual today.
Yeah, it's all good. Okay. So Skin by Brownlee & Co. is a company that started about 8 years ago. I've been an esthetician for 28 years, and I'm currently in the city of Silverton right now. So this will be a relocation of the business, but also an expansion. So My products are also featured on Target.com. I have 4 products featured there and looking to expand there as well. So this new location would also give the opportunity to have a fulfillment center on the lower level, hire more estheticians for Skin by Brownlee & Co., as well as bring on more beauty professionals. We'll have salon suites in there and creative studios.
I don't know how formal you want to be, sorry. Hi, I'm Susan Hoover. I'm on City Council. I had the opportunity to meet your husband, who came to one of our meetings last week. So I have a little bit of information. I'm curious what percentage you're expecting, or how many salon chairs or booths you're going to have, and then how many might be the influencer
Creative side.
creative. What do you call it again?
Creative studio.
Creative studio.
Yep.
Thank you.
So, so in the Skin by Brownlee & Co. suite, I'll be hiring anywhere from 2 to 3 to work under my brand. And then as far as individual suites, we'll have 6 on the first level. And then upstairs, we'll have 4 creative studios. And then the other 4 will be for additional beauty professionals.
So 6, possibly 8 salon spots, and then 4 creative studios.
Correct.
Okay. With the salon booths, how confident are you'll be able to fill those booths?
So, quite confident. I've been in the industry for a long time. I have great relationships with schools, beauty schools. I was also an executive director at a beauty school, and so I have good connections with those students coming out, as well as existing cosmetologists, estheticians in the industry. And several people reach out to me all the time to learn under me in the aesthetic world, and then just great relationships I've built with others. And I think what will set us apart is, one, we'll have the content studios. Everyone needs to make content. It's the thing right now. People are hiring micro-influencers, larger influencers, and we will give them that space to be able to do that, right? So that will be a benefit for them to be in our location, to be able to say, okay, hey, I don't have a client right now. I can go upstairs and create some content. The other thing we'll have is there's a conference room which will also be used for education. So we will be offering business classes to them, bringing in other entrepreneurs that teach classes anywhere from financial education, learning about how to file their taxes and how to just be a more successful entrepreneur, which you don't typically get. You know, once you go into a suite situation, it's kind of like, okay, you're running your own business in there and you're kind of done. Where we want to help these entrepreneurs grow. We want to help them grow their business and see them succeed, just as I've done in the past 8 years. So pretty confident in that. Without them, my business can sustain the building. So that's not a problem. We're not concerned about that, but we want to see the growth. That is the ultimate goal.
Fantastic. Thank you.
My pleasure. Anyone else?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Now, this is not contingent, like my opinion on this matter is contingent on this question. Have you talked to our tax department about your responsibility to pay income tax in Norwood?
No, I haven't. I would assume it's similar to Silverton.
Don't assume.
Okay. But I do have a great accountant, so.
Right. So make sure that you check in with our department.
Okay.
To make sure that when you're starting things up, that everything's kosher there.
Sure.
I am a small business owner and I don't have employees because I can't figure that out myself.
Gotcha. Thank you for that.
Thank you, ma'am.
I seem to remember a couple weeks ago we had something come before us about an alcohol permit for your property. Is that still something you're pursuing?
Yes, we are. So the goal is, I don't know if you guys have gone and gotten pedicures or manicures at any of the ambiances around town. So they all have a liquor license. So it's not really for outside people, it's for our customers, and again, to set us apart from other salon suites, to be able to offer a cocktail while they're waiting. If you have brides coming in and they want to do, bring their whole bridal party, getting services done, to be able to offer that as well. But it also will have a juice bar portion to that as well.
Okay, thank you, totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm really excited about this. I'm curious from the work you're going to do on the property, will the facade be similar? I know the front is all glass. Are you going to keep that?
We are
aesthetic?
keeping it glass. We love the glass. I mean, to me, that's kind of what sets the building apart. We will have a new signage and awning as well as the outdoor signage. But we want you to be able to see through and see that sign that says, Lessons Salon and Luxury Suites. And then each individual person will have their own signage. We'll have something when you walk in that states who's in the building, security, and things like that.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Any further questions? Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
I would ask for Tim to come and talk about the tax.
Tim, would you like to come speak on the tax piece?
For Sylvia's instance, there's not too much for it. You would just register. You'll just register your business with the current federal ID, or if you file individually, you just use your social. That information you just disseminate down to anybody. I'm assuming there'll be contractors that take over the salon loft spots or whatever. So they would essentially follow just in your footsteps. They would do the same thing. Without W-2 employees, it doesn't really get too complicated. It'd just be the enforcement. You would file annually as you would with your Schedule C for your business.
What you got?
A couple. I had a great conversation with Mr. Powers earlier, and I think this is helpful just for all of us. When we think about how income comes into the city, there's a piece of it would be from the property tax of the building, and then a piece of it would be from the income tax.
Yes, earned income.
Earned income. How would that work for, say I'm an anesthetician and I'm renting a booth? I would be an independent, I would be self-employed. I wouldn't even be an independent contractor.
Correct.
So then how would my work in Norwood, how would Norwood get a piece of that money? I guess is what I'm asking.
So resident businesses as well as residents of Norwood are required to file. Without going into too much detail, it'd be more for your tax preparer to figure out, but you would just file that sole proprietorship at Schedule C for your federal income tax form, and then all of that would be submitted, and then it goes off the same thing as employer withholding, so it's just that 2% that would be due. So that's off whenever it's a business such as yourself, whenever you file yours, it's off of the net earnings, so not the gross earnings.
Okay.
Can I add a clarifying question on it? I'm assuming that Miss Brownlee's studios, I mean, not that you know her personal account and stuff, but her employees are hers, but then their studios that then would become like a 1099 kind of employment or something.
Correct. So they would be 1099. Miss Brownlee would then assume the tax liability for any revenue based on the rental space.
Okay.
So that's kind of how that would work out. Hers would be a little bit more in depth than the employees. They're the contractors underneath her, but so they would file on their net earnings, and then hers would probably have a couple steps where those net earnings would just be combined together, and that's where the tax would be due from.
My question is in terms of collecting income tax from employees. Does that make sense? Like,
Well, there'll be two, because there'll be employees and then there'll be independent contract, or, yeah. independent
Correct. So the
contractor.
difference there is just the employees versus the independent contractor. So the independent contractor is going to be responsible for filing their own taxes. They're not technically an employee of, to the extent where they're getting a W-2. So there's no personnel services involved. They're just a contracted employee underneath Miss Brownlee's name.
and for perpetuity, I'm just asking that because I know there are businesses who have moved here and have not been paying Norwood income tax on the employees because of just not knowing. Or maybe nefarious.
Yeah, so we work pretty good to try to rectify any and all of that. So we do employer withholding reconciliations. It's almost just going down a list, like, okay, here's the business, are they remitting? Check. And you just kind of keep going down. We have found, since I've taken over, we have found a couple different businesses that for Ohio is just kind of tough. It's a difficult state to handle, just with all the different cities and stuff in such a small little area. Everybody's kind of got their own little show going on. So whenever you have like third-party payroll services and stuff like that that are located outside of the state of Ohio, sometimes they just don't get the dynamic. We've had one that was just a simple case that whenever they input the zip code into their payroll software, it showed up as Cincinnati. So yeah, nothing facetious going on. It was just kind of what we deal with here in Ohio. So. But yeah, we do whatever we can to try to head that off and correct it. Most of the time, the businesses are very reasonable. They're very quick to react and rectify the situation. So.
Thanks, Sam. Thank you.
I actually have another question for Ms. Brownlee.
I do too.
If you wouldn't mind coming back up to the microphone. Folks watching from home can't hear you unless you come up, so I appreciate that. And this is just sort of me being curious. Will the creative studios just be for people with a booth? Or if I have a food show and I want to rent the space, then I could do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So there will be a booking system online, and you can just book that space for an hour, 2 hours, up to like a full day, whether you're a stylist in the building or outside.
Wow. This just makes me feel super old. This is just one of those jobs that didn't exist.
Yeah,
You know? Mr. Powers and I were saying, I said, like, this wasn't when I was a kid. He's like, well, this was not 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then how would we capture that income? Because I wouldn't necessarily have a space there, I'm just renting the space. So I'm guessing then we just wouldn't get funds from that. This might be a question for Mr. Wagers again, because.
That would be, so that's like, that still would fall under us.
Oh, right.
So like that, they would be paying us just for that hour. So they don't have to be an employee. They would just be coming in, booking it for that hour, and then that would go under the lessons income.
And then your income.
And we would file that.
And then- Thank you. It's helpful for me just to kind of put all the pieces together.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Pardon me, this is serious and tongue-in-cheek at the same time.
Okay.
You do have a branch or like another version of this business somewhere else outside of Norwood, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So in your business, will you advertise this as the Norwood location?
Yes.
Thank you. I would have a problem if you didn't.
Yes.
The much better Norwood location. We love Silverton, but.
That is something I will consider when these things go through.
Yeah.
Well, we won't be keeping the Silverton location open. We'll be moving everything to the Norwood.
That was going to be my question.
Yeah, so-
Was this a relocation or an addition?
Yeah, relocation.
Marvelous.
I'll tell you more about that later.
Okay.
Any further questions for somebody? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Skelly, do you have anything to add?
I do not, unless you want some more background with regards to my role in your particular function.
I don't think so. Thank you. Do we have further discussion amongst the committee?
No, I mean, my 2 cents is it seems like a really great addition to Norwood. Seems like everything's been followed through with pretty well, so I'd be excited to see them take advantage of the CRA and have another really great business taking up what's now an empty storefront.
I'm new to this. So I guess what's important for me to say is I am in support of this, especially because Ms. Brownlee's bringing in something that's going to unblight a piece of property. And I think the tax abatement is good money not spent out of Norwood's coffers to impress or to improve a property.
And I agree. I've been nothing but impressed with them. The fact that, mispronounced her name, sorry, Menifee, her husband, came to a meeting to learn more about Norwood already shows me an interest in the community, and that's really important to me as well. I'm all about diversifying business. This sounds like a great business. I probably should go get my hair cut there. I'm feeling a little rough around the edges. I'm 100% for it. I think it's a great idea. The fact that they've done all the things. There's a room full of people supporting them. I think I'm for it.
Yeah, and for my piece, I'm certainly in support of it. I think it's a beautiful building that I hate to see sit empty, and I would love to see a thriving business there in its place. So I am in full support. Great.
So then I think what we need to do is say as a committee that is something we would support for council. We want to send it off to the council.
Do I make a motion?
We don't make a motion in committee.
We don't really vote on things.
We just sort of,
I recommend that we pass this to council as received.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so tomorrow, what I would say is like tomorrow when we discuss this, since it's already on the agenda to discuss whether to approve or disapprove, we can say, well, we met with them, here's what we learned, and we collectively felt that this would be a great thing to approve. It wouldn't be me, it'd be the committee chair in that point, but that's what I've done in the
Really
past.
all of us.
Yeah, really, we're all one person. But yeah, that's kind of what has happened in the past.
Marvelous. Well, we will present that to City Council tomorrow at our meeting and in our committee report. Yeah. Does anybody have anything else? That is our full agenda for the meeting.
Yep.
Great.
So you can just say here.
I usually like to ask if there's any other community comments.
Great. Marvelous. All right. Well, that adjourns our meeting. Thank you, everyone, for coming.